Shalom. This is Yaquab Manyasha Allah coming with a quick topic. I'd like to start off by giving all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone that rule well. And I'd like to give a double salutation to all you sincere Akim pushing this truth across the four corners of the earth, man. In sincerity. Alright, this is our Revelation, chapter 1, verse 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, Amen. Alright, and that he coming with clouds is talking about Yahushua, man. Alright, when Yahushua Mashiach makes his grand return, man. You know, when he come back with those chariots, man, in the clouds. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and title this lesson Esau's alien invasion and Jacob's salvation. Alright, because Esau loves to paint this picture, man, you know, and have continue to brainwash you people into believing that those chariots actually hold little green monsters in them, man. Alright, little Martians, man, you know, not knowing, out of ignorance, not knowing that what's really inside of those things are what are the angels, man, which are actually black men. Alright, those are actually heavenly powers, man. Alright, those are the chariots of the Most High, man. And Esau's trying to hide that away from the world, man. Alright. I'm gonna go to 2nd Ezra real quick. You know, because they're making all these movies. You got the Independence Day and things like that, man. You got different movies that actually show the chariots, but when you get a close glimpse of what's inside of it, they paint this picture of being an alien, man. You know, and what they're doing is that's to further push their plans of having everybody against these chariots, man, because they believe in that they coming to conquer the world, man, to take over the world. All right, which they are, but in righteousness. You know, they're coming to take over this kingdom, to destroy this place. All right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah. All right, with Yahweh Shah, they're coming to destroy this place, man, this wicked place, and to take it over and to rebuild a righteous kingdom, man. All right. This is 2nd Ezra, chapter 13. I'm going to go ahead and start at verse 1 at the top. All right. And it came to pass, after 7 days I dreamed a dream by night. And this is a vision that was given to Ezra about the return of Yahushua. All right. And this is what he saw. Verse 1. And it came to pass, after 7 days I dreamed a dream by night. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. All right. And that thousands of heaven that he waxed strong with, it was talking about Yahushua. That thousands of heaven is talking about those chariots and the angels, man. All right. So when you see Yahushua return, man, he's going to have a bunch of angels with him, man, and other chariots, man, a bunch of other chariots with him. So to ones that don't have the knowledge of this truth, all right, and they've been brainwashed by Esau, when they look up and see these things, man, because everybody's going to see it. All right, it say what? He say every eye shall see him. You know, even they which pierced him. So everybody's going to see these chariots, man. All right, and for the ones that don't have the knowledge of this truth, what? The first thing they going to think is what? You know, when they see them, that there's an alien invasion and that these aliens are coming to conquer the world, man. All right. So then what? You're going to have everybody teaming up together, joining forces. Even the enemies going to be joining forces amongst each other to try to fight against what they would consider to be a common enemy, man. All right. But it's all good, man, because that's prophecy. You know, that the world's armies are going to try to fight against Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, man. That's prophecy. So it's a beautiful thing. It's got to happen, man. All right. Verse 2. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burnt that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it filleth the fire, man. All right, and that's what's going on when these nuclear missiles hit, man. This nuclear holocaust, all right, which is pushing closer and closer towards, man. All right, verse 5. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. All right, and that's basically referring to you know, these armies, man. These armies in the midst of World War III, man, that's going to turn and try to fight against Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, man. All right, the sons of men. All right, verse 6. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved up himself a great mountain and flew upon it. And that great mountain is referring to the mothership, man, that giant chariot that Yahushua is making his return on, man. All right, not a literal mountain. Verse 7, but I would have seen the region, a place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. So Esdras literally was looking around to see, because this chariot that he saw Yahushua fly upon was so massive, he actually was looking around to try to see, you know, because it looked like a mountain. So he was looking around trying to see if a place, you know, he's seen a place where a mountain may have been and had been removed from its place, and he didn't see where anything was missing or out of place. So he knew it couldn't have been a mountain. All right. Verse 8. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. All right, so right there, man, is referring to, you know, when all the armies are trying to fight against Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, man, you know, and they still had that spirit of fear on them, you know, naturally, like anybody would have in the presence of Yahushua, man, you know, and so much power, you know, but he had a spirit on them to still make them fight, man, to be rebellious and still fight, and that's the same spirit that he had on Pharaoh. All right, back in the times of Egypt when he made the great Exodus, man, he put that same spirit on Pharaoh to harden his heart, so that he would be able to still work those great wonders, man. You know, and send those great plagues upon that place anyway. All right. Verse 9, and lo, and by the way, Salakia Akim, for the noisy background, I'm actually out and about. I'm at the bus terminal right now, and I was just trying to do a quick sit down while I was on my spirit. So forgive me for the noisiness, but I'm speaking as loud as I can. So just bear with me. Verse 9, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lift up his hand nor held sword nor any instrument of war. And that's how we know that, you know, this is happening in the midst of World War III, because that multitude that came to fight against him was actually those armies that were fighting in the middle of World War III, man. All right, that turned to fight against him. They saw that big chariot, and everybody looking at it as a similar enemy, you know. Hey, if we don't all, you know, end our differences and come together and fight against these common enemies, then they're gonna kill us all, right? That's the mindset or mentality that they have, man, or that Esau's putting into these heathens. All right, verse 10. But I only saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And the front of his mouth is not referring to his mouth, his lips, but it's actually referring to the front of the chariot. Just like you've seen in the movie Independence Day, you know, or any other these other movies that they have out with the chariots, man, actually shooting out lasers, and they frying everything that they touch, you know, or movies that show where these big chariots will shoot out lasers and hit people, and the people would disintegrate into dust, but their clothes will still be, their clothes will fall down and hit the ground. You know, so those type of movies are giving you, it's showing you firsthand, you know, what these chariots are actually capable of, man. You know, because we all know these directors, they actually have to go to theology school to study this stuff and to actually know some type of form of knowledge of God before they're able to become directors and put these films together, man. So everything is spiritual, and it originates from the Bible, man. Verse 11, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with multitude which were prepared to fight, and burnt them up every one, so that upon a sudden of a innumerable multitude, unable to count, nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. All right, so this is basically the vision that Ezra saw of the return of Yahushua, man, and what's going to happen in that day, man. All right. You know, Esau's alien invasion, man, is, you know, what he's teaching the world, because they know that Yahushua is making his return. They know that the son of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, that the son of the Most High, is coming back. You know, that's why they got all their damn Star Wars programs and all this technology, space systems, satellites. They have all this stuff, man, for a reason, man. They preparing to go to war in the heavens, man. You know, and there's already a war in the heavens right now, man, where they fighting against the saints and persecuting the saints. But there's actually going to be another one where they're going to war with they're literally trying to fight against the spiritual heavenly powers, man. You know, which are those chariots. You know, and they're preparing for that. So they already know what's coming back, but they want us to be in the dark about what's coming back, man. And they leading us to believe that they aliens. And really, they're not telling us that it's our salvation, man. The salvation of Jacob, man. All right. Verse 12. Afterward, saw I the same man come down from the mountain, and call unto him another peaceable multitude. All right. So in the same vision, Ezra saw Yahushua come down off the top of that chariot after what he saw. After that big multitude of men fighting against him, trying to fight against him, those armies got zapped to dust. He saw Yahushua come down off of the chariot and call a whole nother peaceable multitude, man, which were Israelites. All right. And there came much people unto him, whereof some were glad, some were sorry, and some of them were bound, and others some were brought of them that were offered. Then was I sick through great fear, and I awakened and said, Thou hast showed thy servant these wonders from the beginning, and hast counted me worthy that thou shouldest receive my prayer. Show me now yet the interpretation of this dream. All right. And that was basically the point on that. Like I was saying, Esau continues to brainwash us, man, and having us believe that, what we're supposed to be looking for, supposed to be looking forward to is salvation. And they making us, instead, they making the Israelites dread this thing, man. They actually making us do what we're not supposed to be doing, man. All right, real quick, I'm gonna show you what I mean when I say they making us do what we're not supposed to be doing. All right, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 1. Wrong scripture. Salaki, I was thinking about another scripture. Salaki, this is Jeremiah chapter 10. All right, and it reads, Jeremiah chapter 10 verse 2. No, 1. Salaki, hear ye the word which the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord. All right, so he talking only to the Israelite, man, and all the way up until the day. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the sign of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them, man. All right. So those signs, one of the signs in the heaven, man, are those chariots. And that was a sign, because the closer we get to the end of this thing, man, the more chariots we're gonna be seeing. All right. And Esau got us brainwashed into thinking they're aliens. So when we look at these chariots, we are actually dismayed at them, man. As according to right here, the Most High said what, man? Learn not the way of the heathen and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, O house of Israel, because he's speaking to the house of Israel. So let Esau and the heathens be dismayed and surprised and shocked and scared and in fear when they see these chariots, man. Because what? He said this is the curse that go to and fro in the earth. All right? So Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua set up these chariots to be curses, man, in the earth, man. All right? But curses to who? Curses to these heathens, man, not to us, man. Not to the Israelites, especially not to the ones who are in this truth, man, in this faith, man. All right? We're supposed to have hope when we see these chariots, man. They're supposed to actually give us hope and make us keep pushing. And remember that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is there, man, and he's always watching. That's the mindset we're supposed to have when we see those chariots fly by, man. All right, I'm gonna go to Revelation 19 and 19. Because those chariots, man, that's how we getting out of here, man. That's our only way out of here, man, are those chariots, man. We're not supposed to have chariots, Of course, you can't say how you may feel in that day when you're actually standing face to face with one, But I mean, I'm pretty sure anybody would naturally have butterflies and be a little fearful. But for the most part, man, we're supposed to, it's supposed to bring joy when we see these chariots, man. All right, this is Revelation chapter 19, in verse 19. All right. verse 19 and 19. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. All right. You know, and America is part of that beast, man. You know, America is part of that beast. So what? He said, I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worship his image, man. These both were cast alive into the lake of fire, burning with brimstone. And that's talking about, that's basically talking about America, man. You know, because America is that lake, you know, after it's burned with those nuclear missiles, man. All right. And the remnant were slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, proceeded out of his mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh, man. And him that sat upon the horse is talking about Yahushua, man. All right. So, you know what I'm saying? You know, the beast and the earth and their armies were gathered together to make war against the one that sat on the horse, which is Yahushua. Like this army, which represent the saints, man. You know, they were making war against us, man. So the point of that, man, is this is a spiritual war, man. This is a spiritual war, man. And this war is never going to be over until Yahushua makes his return, man. You know, until Yahushua makes his return. You know, so you know, we supposed to, you know, we see these chariots, they're supposed to give us hope, man, and make us continue to keep pushing in this faith, man. You know, we get weary, man, and feel like we want to give up sometimes, man. You know, through all the afflictions and things we're going through. You know, you may look up, just continue to look up, man. Continue to look up into the sky, man, and that's your hope, man. That's what continue to push you, man. You know, when you see those chariots, man. And it also is a reminder of how close we getting to the end of this thing, man. You know. All right, I'm gonna jump back to chapter 1. All right, I started off with this one, but I'm gonna bring it out again. This is Revelation 1 and 7. And behold, he cometh with clouds, and those clouds represent what? Chariots, man, because they clouds by day and pillars of fire by night, man. You know, all right. Behold, he cometh with clouds, just like you know, in a good comparison, what? Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z. You know, when Goku was a kid and he was flying around on the Nimbus, man, which was the cloud. All right, that was a prime example right there, because they got that from the scriptures, man. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him. All right, which proves that reincarnation is real, man, or regeneration, because the same people that pierced Yahushua HaMashiach will be here when he returns. And all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so Amen. And they're going to wail because of him, because he's going to burn this place up, man. He coming back. He's a man of war. He's coming back to seek vengeance. You know, he's coming back to seek vengeance, man. He said what, man? His garment shall be dipped in blood. You know, his sword shall be covered in blood. You know. So this is what we had to look forward to in the future, man. All right, I'm gonna skip back to Matthew, the book of Matthew, because I like this chapter. This chapter here goes into a lot of what's come to, man. All right, I'm gonna go down to verse 30, and it reads, "Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory," man. And he's going to be coming in the clouds of heaven with those chariots, man. All right. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from the one end of the heaven to the other. And how they going to do that? Because it ain't going to be some little babies in diapers looking like Cupids, you know, with the little bow and arrows in their hands, you know, going around blowing kisses to gather the elect, a bunch of grown-ass men, you know. So, you know what I mean? You know, that's not going to happen, man. You know what I'm saying? Those angels, man, are black men, you know, big black men, man. You know, so-called black men, selected, you know. And, he's going to send his angels, man. How they going to go around and do the gathering of the elect in the chariots, man. All right, so those chariots are going to fly around. You see those chariots going to and fro in the sky all the time, man. You know, these chariots are going to do the gathering, man. All right. You know, he said what? He said, You know, when they go into the parable of the tares, you know, the parable of the wheat and the tares, man. And they say what? You know what I'm saying? Let them grow together. Don't uproot them unless you uproot the wheat and some of the unless you root up the wheat and the tares together, man. So he say what? Let them grow up together. Let them get fully grown, and then let the reapers do the harvest, man. Let them go through and decipher who's of the elect and who's an Israelite and who's not, man. You see what I'm saying? You know. So the angels are gonna do that through via the chariots, man. And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. All right. So, you know, my point of all this, man, is you know, Esau's continue to push out the fact that, you know, these chariots are aliens, man, and that they are enemies, man. But the only people who have to worry about these chariots and the powers of heaven being enemies to is Esau, because they are enemies of Esau. There's even stories and videos you can pull up on YouTube of people confessing of how chariots have actually picked people up, man, and abducted people and had their ass gone overnight, you know. And when they came back, they barely remembered anything. Some people were able to remember things because they were able to do documentations on it and tell you about their experience of how they got beat up, you know, or came back and they woke up with a black eye, you know. And every one of them was an Edomite or some form of heathen, if you pay attention. Not one person that told the story and got beat up or got abducted and came back the next day was an Israelite. So these are the type of things you have to pay attention to, man. So it should make you wonder who's inside of these chariots, man. You know? Alright, I'm gonna skip down to 1 Thessalonians. Chapter 4. Verse 17. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 17. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord, Yahweh Shai. Wherefore, comfort one another with these words. So we're supposed to comfort one another with these words, man. That, you know, the ones that's alive and the ones that remain, you know, the ones that endure to the end that shall be saved, you know, we're going to be caught up together with them that's already dead in Yahweh Shai, man. All right, the ones that's already spiritually with Yahweh Shai, man, in the clouds, man, in the chariots, man. All right. So with that, man, you know what I'm saying, Israel, remember, man, you know what I'm saying, we're not supposed to be dismayed at the signs of heaven, man. All right. And I hope this video was edifying, man. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and end it with this last scripture. I was trying not to make it too long and drawn out. All right, but this is second Ezra, back to chapter 13, and I'm gonna start at verse 3. All right. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another. And this is basically a precept to what I was reading when armies tried to turn and fight against Yahweh Shai, man. All right. This is a precept to that. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle which they have one against another. And that's talking about World War III. And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together as thou sawest them, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. And that's that innumerable multitude that was seen by Ezra to come and try to fight against Yahweh Shai, man. All right, and it said what? He lifted up no instrument of war, but he flew up on top of the mountain and opened up the front of his mouth, which was the front of the chariot, and zapped them and fried their ass up. This is a precept to that. All right, verse 35. But he shall stand upon the top of Mount Zion, which is the mothership. And Zion shall come and shall be showed to all men, being prepared and builded like as thou sawest the hill graven without hands. And this is my son, shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations. And those wicked inventions of those nations represent the sons of man and the sons of the wicked. The sons of the wicked are Esau, the Edomites, so-called Caucasians, and then the son of men are the other nations, man, these heathens, outside of the Edomites and outside of the Israelites. All right, their wicked inventions is their technology, their nuclear missiles, all right, and all types of forms of the gun, man, of the sword. All right, so it said what? Yahweh Shai, what? He said, this my son shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest. So those wicked inventions will be rebuked because they're going to try to actually use them against Yahushua, man. All right. That's also referring to the satellites, the Star Wars system, and everything they have set up, man, against to fight against Yahushua, man. All right. So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Hashem Yahushua. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and to give double honors to the sincere Akim pushing this truth and sincerity, man. All right, Shalom, and we almost out of here. Death to America.